He's the business director at Madison SPECS, which is a national cost segregation leader. He's assisted clients in saving hundreds of millions of dollars on taxes through cost segregation, fondly known as the Cost Seg King. He has a background in teaching and a passion for real estate and helping others. He's a real estate investor himself, host of the top podcast, the Weiss Advice, and most recently, the recipient of top social media influencer on 3 different platforms. I believe that was LinkedIn, Instagram, and X. Freedom Chaser family, let's give it up for Yonah Weiss.
Yes, Yonah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. It's really a pleasure to join you, and especially to join you for a second time. The first time obviously was a lot of fun discussing how we can level up using cost segregation. A lot of people got a lot of value out of that. I got a ton of feedback, and it's great to see a lot of familiar faces and some new faces as well this time around. So love to really start off, today, Iffy invited me to discuss LinkedIn and how to utilize LinkedIn in a positive way, but also to make sure to maximize how we're using it for our business, because it is a business networking platform. And I'd just like to maybe start it off by asking everyone's got the chat open, a couple things, and maybe we can get some activity. I do have some slides, and I'm happy to share some things because there are really amazing things. I'd also love to kind of share my screen and show you a little bit about what I do and how I've used LinkedIn for the past 6-7 years actively on a daily basis, which literally has helped our business in over 8 figures in revenue over that time. And I can't give an exact amount directed to LinkedIn, but it's certainly well over that amount. And I can literally tie it all back to LinkedIn. So I'm going to teach you how I use it a little bit and give you some pointers on how to maximize the time spent and why it's so important. But first, I'd love to kind of get some feedback from all of you. So if everyone would just open up the chat and put in there, who knew me before this call, before this Zoom meeting. So just put a yes if you knew me, put a no. If you don't, I won't be offended. But I'd love for everyone to just give their feedback. It's important to know. And I think that it does speak a lot because yes, some of you have known me from the previous time I was on this, but some of you know me from LinkedIn as well, which really speaks volumes to the fact that what we're going to be discussing today, because we're going to be talking about this and what LinkedIn does. It's a business networking platform, and I like to look at it as literally like a networking event. And you show up, and you can show up all day, every day, literally, and you can get as much out of it, I find, as literally going to a business networking event. Sure, in-person meetings are amazing, and I'm all for that as well, and I do that all the time. But here's something you can do from the comfort of your home or your office or wherever you're at. And I think the value of that is way beyond what people really imagine what it is. And so the first,
Yonah, let me ask you here really quick here.
Yeah, go for it.
Where are you tuning in from, by the way?
I am in the holy city of Jerusalem, Israel, right now.
Wow. Is it okay if I ask you what time it is over there?
It's early in the morning. Okay. Let's just say that.
Okay. Yeah. Because you mentioned you can tune in from anywhere, right? You can jump in LinkedIn anywhere.
Anywhere, anytime.
Tuning in from today. Yeah.
Exactly.
And before we launch into LinkedIn, I'm curious how, kind of from a strategic standpoint, how it got on your radar and what was your, maybe there was some sort of evaluation process where you said, hey, I'm taking the LinkedIn way. And what was that process where you went all in on this social media platform to then leverage for your business?
100%.
Process like?
Yeah. And actually I stumbled upon LinkedIn about 6-7 years ago by accident. I had an account, but it was actually the only social media account that I even had. And we really didn't refer to LinkedIn as social media back then. It was, everyone had it as like, you put your resume and you connect with people that you knew from college or from, acquaintances and things like that.
Yeah.
And I stumbled upon it. I say by accident, nothing's by accident. I believe everything happens for a reason. But for me, it was, almost accidental, because what I was doing in the business development, I was working, had just started out with this new company doing cost segregation, and was working in business development. And when you're doing that and in a sales position or business development, you want to be, searching leads. You want to be connecting with people. You want to find people. And the best way to do that is to use Google, right? You find someone's name, you type their name into Google, and lo and behold, LinkedIn kept coming up as one of the top search results whenever I would put someone's name into Google. And so I ended up just, found that curious, and through that, just used LinkedIn as the direct source to kind of search for Google and, corroborate, if this is the same name, the company name, the location, I have maybe their phone number, the area code. I know, oh, this is the correct, person in that city. But what's fascinating to me, even before we get into then how I actually started using LinkedIn, I would love for everyone right now to take a minute, unless you're driving. If you're driving, pull over to the side of the road right now. But everyone, do me a favor and type your name into Google. Okay, just do a Google search of your name. Okay. Everyone right now. Okay. And I want to see, and I want you to put in the chat right now, if you have a LinkedIn, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, then this won't count for you. But if everyone does have a LinkedIn account, I want you to search your name, and I want you to put what number result was your LinkedIn profile. Just put 1, it was first result, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. Just, I want you to put in the chat if it was the first result, second result. Okay, so we've got Julie, second, Mike, first, Christy, first. So we're getting some first results. Anyone else out there listening? Okay, Vivi, second. That's great.
I'm still going down to find mine, Yonah. That just shows you how just low I am on the totem pole here.
Well, I would say that you have a relatively more common name, and so it doesn't necessarily work. Oh, you're saying, is it you that's showing up for other things, or other Trevor Walkers?
Other Trevor Walkers, yeah.
Right. So unfortunately, that can be sometimes the case if you have a more relatively common name. But if you don't have a common name for the rest of us, so it's usually going to be one of the first results. Now, Sandra, you have a 6th result. That's still great. It's on the first page. And what that shows you is that Google favors LinkedIn. And so what that tells me as a business owner and as someone who's an entrepreneur, someone that a lot of Stephen loves. Okay, yeah, again, see, if you have a common name, it's going to be more difficult. But, if you search, you have your name, the Jostle Group, maybe that will show up or something like that. But when you put someone's name into Google, because you want to know who they are, okay? So if someone's going to invest with you, or someone's going to do business with you, or someone's going to interact with you, they're likely going to search your name on Google and what shows up, okay? If you haven't had any trouble with the law, likely your social media is going to come up, right? Oh, great, Steven. So if you add your middle name, it pops up. So when people find you, they're going to find LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is basically a free advertising platform for your business. And it's an amazing platform for branding. And so that's what I realized almost right away, was that, okay, this is the right person. And then I looked at my own profile, like, okay, if someone's going to search my name, what are they going to see? What do I want them to see? What do I want my kind of brand? And that made me start thinking and looking into marketing and looking into that kind of path. Led me to find Gary Vaynerchuk and learned a tremendous amount from Gary V and his material on marketing and sales. And he has some amazing, highly recommend a lot of his books and podcasts and blogs and all kinds of stuff that he's put together, a lot about social media and about marketing and things like that, and followed a lot of his advice. Now, one thing I actually would love to, before, let me do this. Let me share my screen over here. Can I do that? Yeah.
You should be able to. Yeah. Do you have the privileges there, Yonah?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen over here. Let's see if we get the annotation over here. No annotation, that's fine. I just want to show you what I'm looking at here. So this is my LinkedIn profile. And as you can see, it kind of stands out, right? There's a banner over here. I'm going to talk about this a little bit, but you see there's what's called here I call this the tagline, right? But I want to show you how a couple slides over here. And I wanted to show you before we get to this. So let's how we get back to the top of these slides here. How to make social media connections that convert. And I think it's important because, we always want to be doing that. And the reason why, going back to Trevor's question, why I went all in and focused on LinkedIn as opposed to a different social media. And now I'm, as if you put in the chat, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook or X, all those platforms, which I do use pretty actively as well. However, I went fully all in into LinkedIn for a few years before I even like stumbled onto other platforms, and still do it today, because, and the reason why that is because I find LinkedIn is a business focused platform. Okay, so when people go onto there, they're going to have that business focused mind. Now, I do want to, give a couple of disclaimers. Number one, there are ways to waste time on any social media. Okay, so that's for sure. You want to make sure that you're spending your time correctly. And number two, there's a lot of things that can distract you, not just in wasting time, but in terms of the kind of downsides of any social media. For example, the biggest downside of social media, I think, is the crazy amount of spam messages that we all know that we get. And I made that mistake myself. When I started out, I just started like spam messaging people. Every single person that I connected with, a real estate investor or CPA, is like, hey, I do cost segregation, would love to talk to you about it. And I realized quickly after a week or so that just did not work. And it was like, what's the point of social media if you're going to be socially awkward, right? Right?
Well
and that's
said.
and that's exactly what that is. It's just being socially awkward. You wouldn't go to a networking event and just go up to every single person that you meet and just like, hey, this is, can I sell you on something, or just give you your business card without having a conversation first?
Really true. Yonah, you sparked a question in my mind, and not to go on a rabbit trail.
Sure.
But you had mentioned you went all in on LinkedIn for X amount of time, and then you started really utilizing other, let's call them social media platforms as well.
Right.
Is there, just for the audience's understanding and kind of have maybe how their journey might unfold, is it sounds like a recommended strategy is to focus on one platform. Here we are, LinkedIn tonight. But obviously you got to a point with developing traction and momentum with the one platform, and then you started engaging and dedicating time and energy to other platforms.
Sure.
What was the tipping point or the evolution in that journey for you where you said, okay, now it makes sense for me to start dedicating more time and energy to other platforms after achieving X with LinkedIn?
Yeah, I didn't really have in my mind a certain, let's call it a goal, or a certain, platform that I needed to, plateau I needed to reach. But it was more about just kind of expanding that network and realizing that there was a lot more people that I could reach that I wasn't currently reaching through the platform I was on. And truth be told, it was actually Dan Hanford, PassiveInvesting.com, that had invited me. This was, probably like 5 years ago or so, 4 or 5 years ago, probably 5 at this point, to speak on a virtual, before COVID. So this was like a virtual webinar, essentially a virtual conference that he was putting together, Multifamily Investor Nation, that he was leading. And he invited me. He was like, hey, there's this Facebook group that I'm, part of this, and you're part of it, and you can network with people through that. And I'm like, okay, but I don't even have a Facebook account. And he's like, well, get one.
Right.
And so I can, safely say that he was the one that has credit for that. And that really kind of opened up to Instagram, and then, X or Twitter. I avoided like the plague, because it was just like politics, and you get so caught up in that and negativity. But then I realized there was, a couple of years ago, I was introduced to this really amazing real estate community on Twitter, and how to utilize the platform so you're focusing on just that and kind of blocking out all the noise and everything else, and just kind of seeing the content through lists and through different groups and things like that through Twitter in that way. So that just goes back to the point of how to utilize the platform that you're on, and not get caught up in the noise, and not get caught up on the things that can distract you.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Awesome. So I do want to show you, some of the power of LinkedIn. And in this kind of slide over here, there are a lot of things that you can do to make your social media experience better. But this first thing is creating your profile. Okay. And I mentioned this at the beginning, because anytime anyone's going to Google your name, and if you've joined late to the meeting, the first assignment was to Google your name and tell us what was your search result of your name, and if LinkedIn, in terms of where does LinkedIn show up on the Google results, and many people had first. But if you go to your LinkedIn profile, you'll see that you have, a picture. Number one, make sure it's a good picture, quality picture. Don't just have some random thing. Make sure it shows up. A banner, this background banner over here, that shows up also anytime, especially on a mobile or anytime anyone sees you. It's just a way to kind of showcase who you are. It's a business card, essentially. Your whole page is a business card or is a free website. So you want to make sure that it's clear about who you are, what you do, and how you can help people, okay? And how people can reach you. So that's where I put my phone number, my email, if anyone wants to do that. And then this tagline over here. So going back to here.
Sorry,
go for
pardon
it.
the interruption.
Go for it.
Software do you like to use to create your banner?
Yeah, so this, I use Canva. It's a free software. I use the paid version, but Canva, C-A-N-V-A, you can use that. This literally took me about 10 minutes to get this. Okay. You just put in there LinkedIn banner, and it gives you the exact dimensions that you need. And then you can just play around with it, get the branding on point, or just get something that stands out. Again, it just should be something that's not this boring gray background. Okay, which it's just wasted space, in my opinion. It's so easy. It literally takes 10 minutes to do something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there are several sections to your profile. I'm not going to go through all of it right now, just a couple things to show you to make it that when someone shows up on your webpage, and then when you are using LinkedIn itself, most of the time, if you're going to connect with people or you're going to be engaging on the platform, people are going to click your profile, right? So they want to make sure that it stands out. There are many ways that you can utilize it. And I've picked up a lot of these tricks over time, but many things that you can do is just kind of focused on your branding. And what is branding? Okay, I want to just ask if anyone can give me what they think branding is, and I'll tell you what I think it is, because you can put in the chat over there if you want to know what branding is, if you want to tell me what you think branding is. But one thing that I learned from again, going back to Gary Vee, is that branding, or a brand, your personal brand, if you will, is that whenever someone sees your face or your name or both, right? Exactly. Stephen, Trevor, right? What comes to mind when people see you? What people perceive you? So you want to make sure that when they see your name, they relate it to something that is what you want to be known for, okay? When someone mentions cost segregation, now all of a sudden people think of me, right? They relate my name to that.
That's
similarly,
right.
and if you said the Cost Seg King, and I have it over here, the hashtag over here, Cost Seg King, that's how people view me, because thank God over the years we've built up an incredible reputation, an incredible name in the community, and through educating people, it's just been I've been more prolific about this subject of cost segregation than anyone else in the world. Okay, and so that just comes through time, just putting in the reps day after day. Yeah, because I remember at the very beginning, before I started doing anything, and this goes for anyone. Think about yourself right now, what it is that you want to be known for. And I would love for anyone, if anyone is brave enough to give me, put their name in the chat, or tell me that you'd be willing to be a guinea pig over here, I can give you a quick kind of, what do you call it? Like profile critique, feedback.
Hey, this is a great opportunity, guys. Go ahead.
Seriously.
Aye.
Let's go.
We have Dr. Holt.
We got Dr. Holt. Looks like everyone does. Okay, so maybe I'll go through a couple one at a time.
There we go.
And you can do this for yourself. So Stephen was the first one to respond. So let's see, Stephen. I'm just going to put his name over here. Stephen Love.
Are we going to need your middle name, Stephen?
We might, because again, I'm not seeing anything show up over here. Let's see if I put in Jostle. Jostle Group's not coming up over there. This is you at the top here, real estate developer. Okay, so Stephen, first of all, let's check out his profile. First of all, great picture, right? You just see big buildings. But I would urge you to kind of put something more here that kind of shows, highlights what it is that you do. Now, we're not connected right now. On LinkedIn, you have two options. You either click this follow button or click this connect button. Now, following is great, but if you connect, you're automatically following. So I always use the connect button. And a great advice, always put a note. And I would highly recommend, guys, if you are not connected to me yet, and again, connecting, go to my LinkedIn, hit that connect button, but make sure to add a little note. Takes 10 seconds, and I'll just put, great to meet you on the Zoom call. Okay, just like that. I'll put send. He's going to connect to me. Okay, so now let's look at his, first of all, great profile pic. I would focus in a little more on the head, just a little critique there over there, just so people see your face a little more. Obviously, you're giving a message with the crossed arms there. You're serious. You're very important over there. He, him, I'm not against pronouns per se, but this is like free real estate right over here. So if you go back to my my profile, if I can go back there, where was it?
Yeah, that's why you put Cost Seg King.
That's just free branding right there. You know, okay, yeah. If you really want people to know what your pronouns are, that's fine. But you can go to option, use optional pronouns and put whatever you want, and then it's just free branding. And the reason why this is so important, again, go to anyone's post, and I'm going to go to Annette over here, and I'm going to write something. Or here's Will, and I'll go back to your profile in a minute, Curtis. I just want to show you the power of what this branding is. So I'll make a little comment over here on Will. I'll just write rate opportunity. I don't usually do this, but I'm just doing this for, I usually want to make a comment that is more, or I would say congrats. Right? That's not great. I'm not even paying attention. I wouldn't normally just write congrats and that's it, but I wanted to just use this as an example to show you anytime you comment on someone's post, okay, look what happens. Whoa. Are you guys still there?
Yep.
My screen went black on me. I don't know what happened. Okay, now, something happened over there. My Chrome died. You guys can still see my screen though?
We can see it.
Yep.
That's so weird.
Screen. I can see you too. Yep. And hear you loud and clear as well.
Okay. Can you see it says Chrome not responding? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, but while it's not responding, I'll close it out and I'll get back to it. But you can see right over here, look, it says my name, my picture. I just made a little comment, congrats. Automatically, everyone that see any comment you write on someone here, anyone that sees this comment is going to see my name and my brand, my tagline. This is called the tagline over here. Okay, going back to this part on your profile where you can write what it is that you do and what you want people to know about you. So automatically, people are going to connect my name to my face to cost segregation expert, hundreds of millions saved. Okay, so that's what branding is. I'm going to have to close out Chrome. I don't know what happened over here. It looks like my computer.
While you're setting it up, Yonah, since you are pretty active and successful on all the three platforms, going back to that profile picture, do you recommend that we use the same picture across all social media platforms?
I would recommend that personally because it does allow you to have that brand. Okay, you're not making it difficult. Is this the same person? Right? Maybe if you have something that obviously you can. I personally think it's great to have the same picture across all platforms because people are they're gonna recognize you right away. Okay, like, oh, is that the same person? And then it makes you think, and it's like you're wasting the brain energy on figuring out if this is the same person instead of automatically having the psychology of your brain connecting that person to what they do, and then again how they can help you. So let's go back to Stephen for a minute over here, and go back to Stephen's profile. Okay, so he's got real estate developer, chairman, chief executive officer. So I would say, right, chairman, chief executive officer is that's great. That's your title, is what you do. And that automatically shows up when you go scroll down to their experience and shows their title, right? This is your title. And again, you have several different jobs and it looks like, they are current. Okay, both of these, right? The Johnson Group and the National Association of Unified Real Estate Professionals, both of them are current experiences. You can actually go into your profile and toggle to show which one is on top, and whichever one is on top is going to be the one that's going to show up here at the top. Okay, so if you want this to be the one that's going to show up, that's why you have it. If you want the Johnson Group to be showing up, you would just toggle it to make sure that one is higher up in the experience platform, and I can show you how to do that if you want. But the other thing I would say, chairman, chief executive officer in this tagline over here doesn't tell me anything. Okay, you want to use this real estate, and we all understand real estate. This is prime real estate right here. Just like I showed you, whenever you comment or like anyone's post, being engaged on the platform, they are going to see that. That's your brand. So real estate developer is great. But if it's something that you want them to know how you add value to them, you're going to want to make those words there. So for example, for me, cost segregation expert, people know that I'm saving millions of dollars for people, hundreds of millions. People are going to see that. If it's something that is, that you're going to add value, help people invest passively, whatever it is, that's what the brand you want to have on point, because this chair and chief executive officer, that's automatically going to show up in terms of your position when you look at the profile and your experience. Okay. So that's why I would say use that real estate at the top in terms of your tagline to say something more powerful, more something that's going to jump out, to want to make people intrigued by you and look at your profile. That's what I would say. And another really great thing, by the way, that's incredible that it looks like you reposted that. I was going to say, if you have 4,000, 5,000 likes on your post, but that was just a repost from something else.
Let me interject a comment and a quick question as well. Maybe, for these, and I know it can be important because it's prime real estate, but it's very small real estate when it comes to this page, and you want to maximize every single segment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you recommend going into Chat GPT and utilizing that to help pack in the most, punch for whatever 5 words or 7 words that need to go into this prime real estate area?
I would say, because again, this tagline, I would say, is the most important part of your whole profile. Okay. Besides your picture, everything else, there's a lot of great things in there, but this tagline is the thing that shows up every single time that you comment on someone else's post as well. And I'll talk about that a little bit more, is actually engaging in the platform and how to utilize LinkedIn. Engaging in other people's posts is really the most important part of LinkedIn, in my opinion. So let's kind of leave this. I do want to mention a couple other things about the profile in terms of utilizing it as a free website. Is utilizing something called your media. You can put in free media, and I'll just go back to my profile for a second over here and show you what I mean by that. You see over here, once you scroll down, if it's going to show up, I have the featured profile. You can add featured things, right? So you can go to a post and go to this post over here that I did a while back, and you want to show up in your featured section. You just click the 3 dots at the top over here, and it says
it's at the top, yeah. At
the top, remove from featured, or there will be an option to add to featured. Okay, so that's going to show up at the top of your profile. So the things that you want people to see about you, you're going to want to put in that featured section, right? So that's, again, free advertising for you. And if you can put media, if you have a website, or if you have a YouTube video, or if you have a webinar that you've done, or anything like that, that's going to be here in this media section over here, okay? And every single position that you're in, you can add different videos. And so people just click that. Here's a webinar that I did all about cost segregation. Here's a YouTube video I was on for bigger pockets, right? And so you can just put the URL there, and people can automatically click that. And again, there's a lot that can go into that. I have a free resource on my website, yonahweiss.com, where you can get a free download of how to go through 10 different things in your profile, how to optimize your profile. So we can put that in the chat if anyone wants to check that out. But I do want to go back to talking about utilizing the platform. The main thing here is your profile. Again, everyone's going to come back to that. But how do we actually use it? Create content and engaging with others' content.
Very good. And just so everybody is aware, if he has dropped Yonah's links in the chat, so you can check out, at the very top one is his personal website there, where you can get the resource for LinkedIn advice.
Yeah, exactly. So again, here I put it here, the tagline is memorable. So a lot of different things here. There's something I created a long time ago called the 18 cents challenge. And again, this is based on something that Gary Vaynerchuk came out with. He used to have something called the 90 cents. What do you call it? The $1.80 strategy, $1.80 strategy. And what he said was the $1.80 strategy is going on social media and commenting 90 times every single day, adding your 2 cents, so to speak, your comment on 90 different posts. Wow. Now, to me, that's ridiculous. I don't even know how that's humanly possible to do that, to add thoughtful comments, to first of all, consume that content, to be able to add. But I basically dumbed it down, or made it more palatable, to 18 cents. So you're putting on 9 posts a day, and you're doing and adding thoughtful, engaging comments. And it's a strategic way to be seen by others. Now, a lot of people, the biggest challenge for most people when it comes to sharing on LinkedIn or other social media is, how do I come up with the content, right? Mm-hmm. What do I talk about all the time, every day, or however many times? There's only so many times you can talk about the same thing over and over until it gets boring. However, you can engagingly, thoughtfully comment on other people's posts, and you will get as much, if not more, traction by doing that than if you post on your own. And the way that I know that is if you go to your home feed, just click on your home feed over here, and look at that. Iffy showed up right at the top. Check that out. You see what it says there? Wow. Iffy commented on this post. So LinkedIn, when I go to my home feed, is not showing me that Mario, who happens to be my first connection, posted this. LinkedIn is showing me that if he commented on this, okay? So the algorithm is going to show your connections when you comment on someone else's post, okay? And so when you comment or you like, and again, go down to this is an advertisement, but you go to the second one, here's a post from Trevor, a connection, again, Dale, but they're going to show you a lot of advertisements these days, right? Here's another connection. But again, Ify's showing up all over the place. I guess you're busy. I guess you've been busy, huh?
I learned well from you.
You commented on this as well. And so again, going back to the point, commenting is going to be a strategic thing here. Again, Dylan commented on this. That's how I'm seeing it. Not because Justin made this post. I'm not going to see Justin's post because I'm seeing this because Dylan commented. Okay, just to go back to that as well. That's the 18 cents challenge. A great way to do that. How you do that, find recent posts, have the first comment. Again, you can go to your top of your feed. You can toggle versus top versus recent. Okay, and recent means this is a very recent post. So this guy 1 minute ago, Buddy just posted this, which means there's going to be no comments yet on this post. So if I go and I write a comment, everyone that's going to see that post afterwards is going to see my name right at the top. Okay, so again, it's getting your name out there in the earliest way possible. So again, different ways to do that. Seek your target audience. Your target audience may not be, and again, I don't know what everyone does over here, but you may not be the real estate world. If your target audience is, passive investors, for example, then you're going to want to be commenting on people in different industries to make sure that you're seen. And if your tagline says, I help, busy professionals, all right, or for Ify, I help busy people in the medical profession or whatever, like save money or make money in investing in real estate, whatever that is. So people, busy professionals who are going to see that post that's in that medical industry is going to see your name, and that's what you do. And that's your target audience, okay? Relevant hashtags, this used to be the case. LinkedIn just demoted hashtags, so this is kind of old, so just ignore that right now. Hashtags don't work on LinkedIn anymore, really. And there's a lot of things I want to talk about here, but I think I'm going to skip this whole part about the invitations and connecting with the strategic. Just know, do not connect with everyone. That's what I would say. Just to keep it short, make sure that your connections are relevant because you can see many people there. The biggest downside I hear all the time from people in terms of feedback of what they don't like about LinkedIn is all the spam messages they get. And the way that you can quell that, the way that you can essentially avoid that is by not connecting with people if you suspect they're immediately going to proposition you. Just don't hit that connect button.
There it is.
That's it. That's all you need to do. You basically avoid that problem almost entirely. You're still going to get in-mail messages and things like that, which you can ignore, whatever. But that's a great way to avoid it. A great way to network, and this happens if you do post something. Okay, so I say likes are leads. The best way to make connections is not by people who are sending you connection requests, but it's people who are engaging with your content. So if you put out a piece of content and people engage with it, you want to make sure that you're connected with those people, because the connections start conversations. Now, if you go back to my LinkedIn profile, I have close to 30,000. I don't know how much is that at this point, 20-something thousand connections. Right now, over the years, I've built relationships with literally thousands of them by having conversations. And so that's the power of messaging. And that's why I said when I made that connection with Steven, you put a little note. That little note, right? Great meeting you on the Zoom call that I put to Steven, that's going to start a conversation. And maybe that will lead to maybe having a Zoom call, maybe having a phone call, maybe meeting up. And that creates relationships, that creates networking. Maybe you need help with this. How can I help you with that? Et cetera, and one goes to the other. But the great way to do that, again, is going on your own post and seeing who's a second connection. This person is a CPA. That's one of my target audiences, is CPAs, because they help me connect with their clients who need cost segregation, right? And so that's a great thing as well. Here, another one, a CPA. So here's a second degree real estate investor. So I want to connect with those people who are already engaging with my content, and I can put a little note in there, put that connection request, and thanks for commenting on my post, or thanks for liking my post, or something like that. And very simple. And so it's a great way to kind of network, open those conversations. And again, this does take time, but the amount of time that you're spending is actively networking instead of spending the time scrolling and spending the time not doing things that is actively business, and networking related.
Yonah, what is these are second connections, right? That's what the second means.
Correct.
Could you explain what is a second connection or a third connection or just that concept in general?
Yeah. So on LinkedIn, you can have connections or followers. Okay. Connections means that I have that maybe I know the person, but I'm what's called a first degree connection, which means now we've chosen to connect to one another. Again, that's an option. If you go to someone's profile, again, I'll go to my network over here. Stephen accepted it. Julie, I think I saw your name over here. You're on the call. Okay. She's right now second degree, which means we have mutual connections. That's what second degree means. I mean, she's connected with people that I am first connected with, like Tzvi and Julianne. But Julie, right now, I'm not connected with. So I will hit that accept, and then we'll become first degree connections. And so the first degree connection allows you to now message them, because before that, you can't message unless you have a paid version of LinkedIn, which is not necessary in my opinion. But with that, also allows you to just see what's in their feed. Again, when you go to their home feed, LinkedIn is going to show you what your first degree connections are looking at or commenting on or engaging with. And that builds rapport. It builds that network. Again, that's what we want to do. We want to build that network to connect one another, and how we can connect with one another and how we can kind of build our business together. So I'm going to accept this from Julie. And again, I recommend everyone else. And see, look at that. She put a little note there. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But actually, Julie asked a great question here. So let's do this for everyone. Great talk tonight. How you do linked massive multifamily? Did you create your page, and do you pay the monthly fee to improve your experience? So again, I do have a paid subscription to LinkedIn. I don't think it's necessary to have that. It does allow you some extra features, but to maximize LinkedIn, I don't think it's necessary. So you don't have to do it. If you want to explore it, you can explore it. But again, I don't personally think it's necessary.
Yonah, since we're talking about, creating connections intentionally, leading with value, etc., I remember something that came up during the challenge, and I know we didn't bring this up, but for those listening, Yonah periodically holds very graciously LinkedIn challenges, and you can talk about that a little bit later. But we talked about being intentional and creators not using or relying on either AI or virtual assistants, or a trend I've seen now, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just what it is the use of copywriters. I was just wondering if you would like to weigh in on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I would love to kind of reiterate what you said. I created something a few years ago called the 10-day LinkedIn challenge for commercial real estate. And I call it the CRE, Commercial Real Estate Challenge. And essentially what that is to encourage people to get out of their comfort zone and post. Because the way that you're going, the challenge that a lot of us have is to come up with new content and to post every single day, or at least post consistently. And that's the way that you really, in my opinion, maximize LinkedIn and create that brand awareness, is by creating content, creating a community. But creating that content can be difficult. I certainly think it's important to utilize whatever technology that you can. However, the personal connection is what makes it most authentic and is what's going to create those real connections, in my opinion. So yes, you can create some content, but I would spend time personally engaging and not have a VA or someone like that do the engaging on your posts, the commenting or responding and things like that. That's my opinion. But coming up with the content, it is challenging. But and actually, that brings me to this next slide over here. You don't always have to talk about what you do, right? For example, yes, I do Cost Seg. I have a podcast also, but that's not what I talk about all the time. In fact, probably 10 to 20% of what I post about on a daily basis is about my business. Okay. And you might think that's counterproductive, right? You're on LinkedIn. It's a business platform. You want to be showcasing what you do. But the truth of the matter is, people are connecting to you as a person. Okay. And if you're adding value, it doesn't matter how you're adding that value, as long as it's on brand with who you are and on brand with what you do, then you can really talk about whatever you want and how you can add value in different ways. Because people will automatically, as long as they see your name and your tagline and your picture, they're automatically going to relate it back to your business because that branding is on point. So I have people tell me all the time, I love all the content you put out about cost seg. And I barely ever even talk about cost seg. But they make that mental connection because they see that cost segregation and they know that I'm the expert. And I do occasionally, again, 10 to 20% of it is going to be about that. And so they just make that mental connection.
Awesome. Yeah.
So a couple of things over here again, and the biggest thing that you can do, in my opinion, about coming up with content is what I call sharing your journey. Okay. And again, I said over here, don't just post content about what you do, but who you are and where you're going. So for example, right now, we're all on this Zoom call together. This is a perfect opportunity for every single person on this call to either take a screenshot or to write a post about this. It doesn't have to be right now. It can be tomorrow morning. It can be next week, whatever it is. You can take a screenshot. You can not even just share, here are 3 things that I learned, or, hey, I'm going out of my comfort zone, going to be working on LinkedIn, or, ask questions is a great way. I was on the Zoom call with Yonah, and he talked about the importance of sharing content. He talks about the importance of creating your tagline. Put it out there. Here are a couple different taglines that ChatGPT came up with for my post. What do you think is the best one to use, right? And so you're automatically asking a question. You're encouraging engagement through that. So again, these are different ways, but sharing your journey means, what are you doing, right? I heard someone earlier saying that they, it was Iffy or someone else, and I remember saying that they, had a call with a broker, or they closed on a property, or they have something on their contract. That's a post, okay? Sharing what you're doing. I had a call with a broker. Here's 2 things we discussed today. That's a post. I had a business meeting. I went out for lunch, and pictures are great. People love pictures. Right? You take a selfie. That gets a lot of attention on LinkedIn for whatever reason also. But there are great ways to do this. And who you are, if it's work-related, if it's inspirational, something that happened to you, this is great. Again, it's sharing your journey, what you're going through on a daily basis. All of it, you can relate it back to content.
Outstanding.
How much more time we got, guys? Because I could go on for hours, but I'd love to answer some questions that people have.
Maybe let's do this, Yonah. We can continue the floor here with the educational component for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we can open up for questions for another 10 minutes, and then we'll probably stop there just to kind of respect our original scheduled time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay with you?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Right. Wonderful.
Yeah, and here's an example, right? You want people, and this may sound very strange at first, but you want people to talk behind your back about you, okay? You want people to be talking about you when you're not around, because referrals is the essence of business, okay? And so here's just a perfect example, a social media post. Someone, I blocked the names over here, is wondering if you had a referral for a cost segregation professional, and people just were tagging my name, right? I found this the next day, I logged in, but you want people to be talking about it. So I just posted over here, the next time someone tells you social media doesn't work, show them this. And how do you get this? It's by showing up every single day and having that brand that people automatically recognize you. And the funny thing is, most of these people, right? This guy, I don't even know who this person is, right? Right? This is right. This guy's a friend of mine, and he's a CPA. We work together. This person is a client of mine. Okay, this person is a client. A client of mine is, an attorney that I know. But again, these are people that they're going to share their experience because they know you and they're going to refer you. And because you're showing up there, you're going to be top of mind. Okay. There may be 10 people who are real estate syndicators, right? But because you're showing up and you're top of mind, people are going to relate to you, right? Or so the next time I find someone who's a medical professional that is looking to invest in real estate, I know people who are like Iffy, who are medical professionals who are specifically working with other medical professionals, right, who are doing that. Or I know someone who, was from Nigeria. I was like, I know someone else who's from Nigeria. And that's just making that connection. And so I talk about this a lot as well. I think I maybe will have a slide about that, about making introductions and making connections. I don't know if I have it over here, but yeah, you connect with me. The way that you make real networking is how to add value. And the easiest way to add value, in my opinion, is to make connections between other people, okay? So again, if I meet someone who is, or I see someone post about, and this happens all the time, and you can do it yourself as well, but to just test this out, you can say, I'm looking for a referral for X, Y, and Z. Okay. And people are going to share what they know. Or I need someone, I just saw it yesterday, in a Facebook group, like someone has a short-term rental in the Smoky Mountains and they needed a handyman, right? And automatically someone, puts someone's name. How do they know that? Maybe they've worked with that handyman, but I guarantee you some of those people was because they are adding value on social media and people automatically connect them and know this is the guy to do it. Now, there can be some danger in that as well if you really don't know the person. There are unfortunately people out there who are not 100% the most honest or ethical people out there, but they just have a great social media presence. And unfortunately, I saw this firsthand with some real estate syndicators who had a big social media presence, raised a ton of money, invested in deals, and then, unfortunately, right now they're going through foreclosures and things like that. But and people invested with them simply because they have that social media presence. So I'm not telling you not to do your due diligence. I'm just saying that the power of that branding is that people will mention you as a referral if you have that presence and if you are top of mind.
Very good. Yonah, I'd like to ask a question at this point, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
What would you say, and it just may be a constraint for, like, for example, maybe my particular situation and others that would have a similar situation as well, which is the following. I have to use LinkedIn for my W-2 job. Mm-hmm. So is there a way in the midst of that constraint to gain some sort of momentum while still maintaining compliance with LinkedIn protocols on the real estate investing side of things? And not catch the eyes of my supervisors and compromise my employment.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I do realize that is a challenge that a lot of people have. And if you do have a job and you're also doing real estate simultaneously, there is that challenge. Now, there are obviously different, levels of the spectrum of how much your employer cares about your LinkedIn and what you're doing. And I can't speak to all of those levels, but what I can say is that people are going to connect with you based on who you are. And if you have, multiple things, not every person is so binary that this is all they do and that's it, right? Everyone has a lot of different things that are going on in their life. And many people have, multiple businesses or other things as well that may not interfere with your W-2. However, one thing that I have found who people are doing what you're exactly speaking about, that you have a job and also investing or building a real estate business on the side, is that when you do share that on LinkedIn, you'll be surprised how many people that had no idea about that. And you're actually opening up an opportunity for those people who you already know, those people who are already in your network, either they're colleagues of yours or previous people that you've known from previous jobs or people that you went to college with, and they had no idea that you're doing real estate right now. And so it's an opportunity for them to connect with you and potentially be an investor or whatever that is, join the community, whatever it is your goals are that you want to do, because you are sharing that. Now, again, you want to make sure that it's compliant. If you do have certain rules within your company, you have to clearly stay within that. So it is a challenge to do that. If that is the case, and I've seen that before, and you do have that restriction with LinkedIn, in my opinion, it might be wise to focus on a different platform, right? Focus on Instagram or Facebook, and then just block everyone who you work with from your Facebook. Yeah. And therefore, you're going to be building that same similar brand, because you can use Facebook in a very business focused way as well, right? It doesn't have to be how a lot of people use Facebook. There's just kind of everyone has different approaches.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Yonah. I would say Yonah, unless there's any last minute burning educational items you want to share with us, maybe we transition to some Q&A.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Iffy, does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds okay.
All right, let's open the floor then. If you have a question for Yonah, raise your hand. We'll get you unmuted and you can share. Or if you want to volunteer and have an audit of your LinkedIn profile, maybe we could do that as well. How do you raise your hand? Steven, if you have another question here, man, just do the manual hand raise and we'll get you unmuted. All right. There we go. We'll get you unmuted here, Stephen. And I see you, Aaron. You also have your hand raised. You will be next.
Actually, you can let Aaron go first, and then I can go after. No problem.
All right. Cool, man.
Thank you.
Very
Hey,
gentlemanly.
Yonah.
Yep. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, thanks. This is awesome. So, Yonah, what is on your LinkedIn right next to your name? There's the little sound thing, and I didn't click on it because I didn't want to be rude, and I'm on right now. Does it pronounce your name? Is that what it does for people?
So yes, it is, they put it there. And again, this goes back to another way to utilize everything you have with LinkedIn. Do you have an option to, and it just, maybe I'll share my screen again just to show, so everyone sees what we're talking about here.
I don't have one. So is it? Oh,
Yeah. So everyone has the option. So again, here, this little icon over here. And
yes.
actually, let me stop my share for a second and then share again with sound, so you can actually hear. Share with sounds. There we go. Check this out. Let's see if this works. Let's see if you guys can hear this.
It's Yonah Weiss, host of the Weiss Advice podcast and Cost Seg King. When you connect with me, put a little note in there to tell me why.
Okay, so you have an option when you click this little edit button on your profile, and you have an icon.
Like a little voice note. I didn't know about that.
That's stellar. That's stellar right there.
Let's see. Is it frozen? Is he frozen?
Yeah, it looks like that's what happened.
Ace,
Yeah.
right?
Here we go. Now we're back. Sorry, it froze just for maybe 5 seconds, Yonah. But we're good
Oh,
now.
no problem. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we're good now.
So where did we leave off? So again, you go to your profile over here, you click this edit button. Did you hear what the voice recording said when I played it?
We thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, we did.
So
awesome.
on mobile options, you have more options, but on desktop, you have something here that says your audio recording, and it says name pronunciation. So you want to make sure, yes, people are going to pronounce your name correctly, so you can utilize that. But I think you have about 10 seconds, and you can literally use that for whatever you want. And just like I said, I'm sharing a lot about my business and utilizing the options that are out there. LinkedIn on mobile, we have another option over here, which is if you click, there's another option to add a little video, an introduction video. And again, you have about 10 seconds or so to do a little clip, and it can be anything you want.
Wow.
So you can utilize LinkedIn to do that by, but again, using anything that you want, the options that are there to kind of share your brand and share how people can get value from you.
Thanks, Yonah. That's awesome. Thank you.
Amazing.
Aaron, thanks for your question, Aaron. Let's go back to Stephen to see what's second in line here. There you go, Stephen. You're unmuted.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Yonah, there's two things I got just really quickly. One is the tagline. You put cost segment error, and I know you were talking about me changing mine. Why don't you make it to where it doesn't look salesy? Because I see a lot of those, and I immediately just click off of them because I think they're going to spam me with a bunch of stuff.
Right. So, I mean, again, there's a delicate balance. You want to make sure that it's on brand, on point. And I think, real estate developer, property developer, that first thing that you say there is perfect for what you want to be showcasing, right? But just having like CEO or founder or vice president, whatever it is, like doesn't tell me about how you can add value to me. So I totally get what you're saying. Sometimes you have people in there and, you can tell right away that someone's going to spam you based on what's in there. So it is a delicate balance. I would say play with it. And again, a great opportunity for content is put it out there, make a post about it, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about using my tagline for. What do you guys think? And ask the audience what resonates with them.
Outstanding. That's a great idea. And the second thing is for people who are known for more than one thing or have more than one company, how do we get one LinkedIn page to be able to do it? Because at least with Instagram or some of the other platforms, you can create multiples. But here,
Right.
One LinkedIn, one person, but I own or I'm associated with more than one company or more than one industry, if you will.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, you really can't do that so well. To utilize it in a really powerful way, in my opinion, is just have one page and one brand. The only thing you really can do is you'll have options to have different experiences, right? So I have multiple things going on, right? And so each one of these, you can create a business page. And then through that business page, you can post content. However, it's not going to get as much reception per se as or not as much eyes on it, because LinkedIn wants you to pay for advertising, and so they're not going to show your business page posts as much unless you're actually paying for advertising. But it still can help. But again, there's not really a good way to have like two separate pages for that, besides for the business pages.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So building off of your last comment there, Yonah, and sorry, Dr. Holt, let me just interject this really quick while we're on the subject, then we'll get to you. Do you think it's worth the time and energy to dedicate towards a business page? If, like, for example, in my case, right, like I have a W-2, right? Maybe I can weave in some real estate on the one LinkedIn personal profile page. Is it worth having a company page that's dedicated to real estate investing, or is it not worth the time to do it, at least initially?
I mean, again, it's not going to be so worth it just because you're not going to get a lot of engagement. You're not going to build a big community through the business page. But it's important to create it, but I wouldn't spend too much time, in my opinion, in utilizing it, right? For example, here, I actually don't use this much anymore because I saw that it wasn't really getting much involvement. But through the business page, right, you can create posts, you can do different things through it. But I didn't find much value from it, which is why I stopped kind of focusing time on it.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, let's get to Dr. Holt. We'll get you unmuted here.
Yes, thank you so much, Yonah. I really enjoyed this Zoom call. And also, I saw you on a different podcast where you also spoke about cost segregation. I think your contents are always well put together and, very, very educational. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my question is very similar to what Stephen talked about. So, for example, both of us, myself, Ify, Trevor, in the medical profession, and I think I don't see a lot of medical profession on LinkedIn. So what would you advise in that situation? Because it doesn't look like, we can get a ton of business over there, perhaps because the medical professional people are too busy or whatever. But I just want your take on, how do we go about that?
Yeah, it's a very valid point and certainly a challenge. Creating that brand awareness, you may have to branch out to other professionals, other professions if you're not getting the people who are your target audience on LinkedIn, or you may have to find them in different venues, whether that's in live, in-person conferences or networking or things like that. But you can still obviously add tons of value. I would still put in the efforts in creating the profile to fit your brand and to create the content, because you will get some people. But again, finding your target audience is always going to be the challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Holt, for your question. We're getting close to the end here, I would say. Ify, did you have anything you wanted to ask Yonah before we wrap up? And I would say maybe from the audience here, we could take maybe one more person to ask one last question here.
Yeah, no, I certainly do. Yonah, when is the next? Oh my gosh, did we lose him? Oh no.
No.
There you are.
Well, I'm still here.
Do you know when the next CRE challenge is?
I think we're planning it for the beginning of September,
Awesome.
is what I remember. So
Awesome. Okay.
the first or second week of September.
I'll
keep your eyes out.
Yeah.
Very good.
Erin, your hand is still raised. Is it from before?
No, I had two questions. Yonah, so I was looking at my profile and I don't see on when I click the little pencil that I have the ability to do an audio. So is it a paid subscription? I know you say that you don't do paid subscription. And then my second question is, I was looking for your PDF. Is it on your website for your way to enhance your bio? I'm looking for that.
Yes. So first question is, I don't know if it's the paid thing. I'm not 100% sure.
Do you have a paid LinkedIn? Is that what I need to do?
I do have a paid LinkedIn, but I'm not sure that's only with the paid LinkedIn option, the audio thing. It might just be on mobile. That could be. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't remember. But no, I mean, I saw it right now on my, so I'm not sure why that is. Could be a paid thing. I'm not 100% sure.
Or maybe
And
because
yeah, and the second thing is, yeah, you can go to yonahweiss.com. Just
you
put in the
share
chat there.
can
And
you
then,
share screen? Okay.
sorry?
Can you share screen and show us where? Well, I'll do it. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, no, it's right there, right on the top of the page there, yonahweiss.com. See right here, grow LinkedIn, 10 ways to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Just click
Yep.
that button there.
Awesome.
And then it's really just a resource, just goes through your profile, gives you 10 different tips of how to make it look professional.
Cool. Thank you so much.
All right. Outstanding. Yonah, I would like to take a picture here of my screen and throw it up on the social just to capture the moment here, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. And I encourage everybody to do the same as well. Take a screenshot and throw it out there into the ether and let everybody know what you've been up to tonight. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Very good. And Iffy was dropping all of Yonah's links in the chat. You guys, Iffy, could you do that one more time for us, please?
Of course.
Just so it could be at the top of the chat box here. And Yonah, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience as far as how to plug in with you, how to follow you and keep up with everything that you have going on?
Two things I would say, like I said before, go and connect with me, drop a little note. I see Rachel and Steven already did that, and Julie as well. Put that, go to my LinkedIn, make sure to connect. Love to have conversations with everyone. And then the second thing is be on the lookout for the 10-day LinkedIn challenge. It is really extremely beneficial. I mean, I cannot speak to it enough. I had hundreds of people participate over the years and have had so much incredible feedback. People literally changing their lives. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that.
Wonderful. Well, Yonah, we are greatly appreciative of you spending time with us this evening, our time, the morning, your time. As it happens always, it just goes by way too fast, but the value was tremendous. And I'm sure, like we said, the first time that we had you on, this won't be the last time we get to spend time with you, together as the Freedom Chasers with the Cost Seg King. So Iffy, did you want to have any parting words for
Yeah, I
Mr.
mean
Yonah here?
he gets the top prize for social media influencer for not just LinkedIn but the other platforms. So might as well bring him to show us how to hack the other platforms.
That's right. That's right. Yonah,
Yeah.
thank you so much again. It was a real joy and pleasure on our half to be with you tonight. It was
Absolutely.
an honor to be able to host you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
Thank you all. Pleasure was mine.
All right.